For me as a Christian, I tend to overlook Easter and just see it as Jesus' crucifixion, but I fail to understand the severity of what it actually was. The reason that they lashed him 39 times is because 40 was the legal maximum in their law of the day, meaning they gave him as many lashings as legally possible. This was also known as the worst punishment that they could have possibly given out as a man who had done nothing wrong. After these lashings, his intestines were literally hanging out. His rib cage was visible on both sides. His beard was pulled out in chunks. The muscles and tissue around his spine were completely opened up, and worst of all, he was forced to be naked throughout this entire beating, and by the end you couldn't even tell if he was male or female. Isaiah 52:14 says his face was so disfigured he seemed hardly human, and from his appearance one would scarcely know he was even a man. They had a crown of thorns and twisted it on his head. They put a staff in his right hand and knelt in front of him, and they mocked him. They spit on him and they struck him on the head again and again. Jesus was not only physically abused, he was verbally ambushed with nonstop mockery and pure hatred from just about every person there, including the ones that he loved and always cared for. You would think that was it, but after that he had to carry a 200 to 300 pound cross for miles. To put him on the cross, they used 7-inch nails, ones like you would see on railroad tracks. They put them right through both of his wrists and right through his feet. This was shooting constant, excruciating nerve pain throughout every part of his body. When you're hanging on a cross, it causes extreme suffocation, and to be able to breathe, you legitimately have to pull yourself up. Jesus not only did that, but he did it with thick nails in his wrists, but worse was that his back was exposed, and the tissues would rub up against the splintery of the wood of the cross. He did that same breathing for about 6 hours. Every breath and moment in this time was the most excruciating pain him or anyone else could ever feel, and throughout the entire process, he didn't even say a single word. John 19:28-30 says Jesus knew that his mission was now finished, and to fulfill scripture, he said, "I am thirsty." A jar of sour wine was sitting there, so they soaked a sponge in it, put it on a hyssop branch, and held it up to his lips. When Jesus had tasted it, he said, "It is finished." He then bowed his head and fully gave up his spirit. You're probably thinking, well, why did he do this? He did it for me and for you, and what is that reason? Because he could not see us separated from our Father. Love is not merely shown through feelings, but it is shown through action, and Jesus is love, and this was the action of ultimate sacrifice for love. I have done so many things wrong, but yet he chose to die for my sins. Jesus, someone who lived a perfect life, gave up his own life for you and I as imperfect people. That is the greatest act of love anyone has done for you and I pray that we never overlook it on a day like Easter and any other day of our lives.